Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Barrel Shop. The ABV Barrel Shop is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri. The ABV Barrel Shop is focused on one thing, single barrels. Best of all, you can try before you buy. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to sign up for their email and text distribution so you know what they have in stock, what classes are coming up, and who from the industry may be coming in to visit. The ABV Barrel Shop. It's where single barrels live. We're also sponsored by the Bar to Go. The Bar to Go offers traveling minibars that are no bigger than a small purse or toiletry bag. Best of all, they are fully customizable so you can create the perfect piece that is unique for you. If you own your own business, what a fun and unique way to promote what you do. Check them out online at thebartogo.com. That is the number 2 in the Bar to Go. If you have wholesale questions, call my friend Isabel Clark at 504-481-1297. Finally, we are sponsored by the Neeley Family Distillery. NFD is a family-owned business that keeps ringing up awards in the spirits world. Head to Sparta, Kentucky to experience the family history, award-winning spirits, and meet the Neeley family. Check them out online at neeleyfamilydistillery.com. Now, on to the show.
Let's drink!
Welcome to the Bourbon Daily, the podcast about everything bourbon delivered to you every day of the week. Today on the show, we talk about why we think Royce Neeley's model has worked so well. My name is Miss Beka Sue, otherwise known as Royce's model. No, just kidding. Please join me in welcoming my co-host Steve Akeley, as well as our special guests, Nate Weiniger, Steinkamp, and Darren McElroy.
Hey gang, what's up?
Hey y'all.
Hey-oh. So yeah, we're going to be talking today about Royce, and boy, it seems like if you have the benefit of hindsight, which we have now, he's been in business he's closing in on 10 years. You get to that and you think about all the other distilleries that have started around that same time or after him. We're talking about just in the last 3 or 4 years, Kentucky's bloomed from like 56 distilleries to like 100, and there may be more than that. There's like 100 in the KDA at this point, and I think there's more than that out there. So we'll continue to learn more and things like that as we go on, as they join the KDA. And I think that Royce is a cut above most of those distilleries. And you're not talking about a guy who comes from somebody who ran a hedge fund and has millions and millions and millions of dollars just to throw at a distillery and make a pretty cool place. You're talking about a family-owned business, that was bootstrapped. And so we're going to talk about why his model has worked so well, what he's been able to do, and we'll get to that after the break. For right now, Beka said there's something she wanted to talk about. What is that, Beka?
I do. So every year I feel like Instagram ads or Facebook ads or TikTok or wherever, there's always someone that's coming up with a new whiskey Christmas present.
Sure.
Right? And it's always, like whiskey stones. It's going to be some sort of new glass or whatever. And then I just saw the newest one, and maybe it's not the newest one. Maybe it's just the first time I've seen it. And I don't know if you guys have seen this either. But it is a brand new, unused charred oak glass.
Charred oak, okay.
It is just
so it's aging as you're drinking it.
It's a wood glass, or not glass. It's just it's a wooden cup.
Right.
What it is. I'll show you guys a picture of it here. I saved it on my TikTok so that I could laugh about it. And of course, it's if your husband's a whiskey guy, get him this. And so here's this woman.
Oh, it looks kind of like a barrel cut in half. Obviously, a very small version of it, but that's kind of what they're going for.
Yeah.
Is it plastic lined?
No, it's supposed to be. So that what you're seeing, and she claims in the comments that they didn't do this, but they said that you're supposed to wax it so that it doesn't leak. And everyone in the comments is like, well, then how are you going to get the flavor if it's waxed? And then she said, to reply to some comments, says, no, you wax the outside. Oh. It's like, okay, so then your hand would be waxy.
Your hand's waxy.
And a lot of the comments were, this is something that if you know anything about spirits, you absolutely fucking hate. And then there's a lot of people who are like, this is terrible because you're going to influence the whiskey. Like the flavor could get ruined of your good whiskey because you're putting it into wood.
It. Right.
Yeah. It's ruined
it. It's going to ruin it. So I want to know your guys' take on the newest of the whiskey Christmas presents, and if you guys think that any of your friends will be getting this for a present this year. It is
Steinkamp wants to weigh in
$50,
first.
I believe, online.
Yeah, $50.
$50 for that piece of shit?
Let me double check the price
No,
here.
Nope, you don't have to.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, it's $59.99.
Shit.
All right, it's called the Whiskey Grail. If anyone would like to buy it, handmade and charred drinking vessel.
Okay.
Handmade in China by a child.
Wow. Here's where the only place that I think this makes any sense is a lot of times when I'm speaking to groups about investment whiskey, we kind of do whiskey school, right? And we talk about what White Dog is and how that goes along, right? So if I
showed someone drinking Blanton's out of it, by the way.
Oh God!
Yeah, it's probably Steinkamp. This is probably his company.
World?
Yeah,
ruined.
It's the side project.
Yeah, side project.
Yeah.
Nope, this one's above investment whiskey. You make more money off this one.
Yeah, that's true. That's crazy. Here's where I think it would be fun for me to own one of those. I could pour White Dog in it and go, now what's in the cup? It's whiskey.
Right.
That's the only thing.
Entered an unused charred oak container.
Yeah. And I'd have to buy a new one every time.
You would have to buy a new one every time.
Yeah, that's
to call it
you
whiskey.
have to buy a new one every single time.
Yeah, I need like the like a shot cup of it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for
those will just be
$46, it might get expensive.
Yeah.
This is true. So I mean, I think it does what they wanted to do. It appeals to people. It's got a neat story that appeals to people that don't know whiskey that are buying for whiskey fans, and that's what they're trying to do. No whiskey fan's going to buy that.
I'm surprised I haven't seen that before. Like that exact. I've seen like wooden cups before.
No, because people would start designing it, and then they realize how stupid the idea was, because it's going to leak if they don't have wax in it, and it's not going to be in your cup long enough to add any flavor. So it's a stupid gimmick thing. So everyone that has thought, oh, I'm going to do this, was like, no, I'm good. See, I think we should just stay with the fucking whiskey stones. At least those are useful.
For what?
For what?
They're great at taking up room in the freezer. That is.
Oh my God! This was going to be my
The
question.
whiskey stones are great for paperweights.
Yes.
Chipping your teeth.
Yeah.
Put them in a fish
Never
tank,
put them in a
maybe.
glass. Put them on paper. Throw them at things. I don't know.
The only weird, like kitschy, like whiskey thing I've seen that I think actually could make sense for someone is that dumb glass that you like sit like sideways in your freezer, and it
Freezes.
and it freezes like kind of like sideways. That's at least like kind of cool, I guess, if you like to drink your whiskey on the rocks.
Right.
I don't even like the glasses that have like the built-in cigar holder on them, because I feel like that's awkward.
It's gonna fall out. It's like
that's dumb.
But
Nate, what's your take
everywhere
on
too. It's like,
on the whiskey cup?
Well, I just purchased 10 of them, so look for those in the mail. That'll be your gift this year.
Great.
Find them too. But here's the thing. I feel when someone buys a whiskey gift, and I'm sure we've all gotten a billion of them, they go into a cupboard at my house, and I'm just kind of straight. I just politely say, "Hey, I appreciate it."
Well, sure, it's a gift.
Right, of course.
Their intentions are good. Yeah.
They're trying to do something that they know you're passionate about, that you love. But man, there's some real shit out there, like just gimmicky. You guys just named a bunch of them, but there's just a bunch of them. And I stick to a Glen usually when I drink, or even a rocks glass, and that's simple enough. I think, the smoke machines, that was kind of big here a few years ago, where you could smoke your own whiskey. I've seen multiple different types of those. But it's. I'm sure that thing is going to make a mint because there's going to be a lot of people that have no clue and are buying that and thinking that they're doing something meaningful for the whiskey drinker, and some people might like it. So good for them to come up with that idea. And then that just goes back to even those little 5-gallon barrels that people get and they pour their whiskey in to age in their basement. It's like. It doesn't make sense to me, man. So maybe
I guarantee lots of people are buying that this Christmas because all the comments were wives saying, "Oh, he would love this," and I'm like, "Oh no!" And then I saw a bunch of them that were, "I guarantee you, he will not love this."
Really? Oh, there
and then
you go.
and then
Spouse
of course
is fighting back. It's good.
Yeah, and of course the person that put that up was like, "No, he will love this," and they're like, "Oh God." Dang it.
Yeah.
Steve, have you ever done a Bourbon Daily? You need to do like a bracket challenge of the worst whiskey gifts, maybe.
Okay. Maybe we could do that. Yeah, that's a good idea. We should do that. This will make it. This will be a part of it.
Yes. So
yeah,
it'd be way up there.
So there you go. On that note, guess what, gang? It's time to drink. What is everyone drinking? Let's start with Beka.
I've got some dark arts here. This was, let's see here, finished with toasted. We're just gonna say French oak staves. I don't know really what.
Duplez.
Yeah, something. That's the one. I'm like, I don't know how to say that. I'm not French.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Okay. Decent. Could be enough. If things go your way, that could be enough, Beka. We'll see. We'll let Darren go next. Darren, what do you got?
So I have a sample of In Lieu of Flowers from Dancing Goat Distillery. This is some fantastic whiskey that they made up.
Beka, do you like when Darren comes in and just does his own format? Just is like, I'm not gonna cork pop. I'm gonna do my own thing tonight.
You know who I learned this from? This is a Beka
Cumberland
thing. No, Beka used to do it all the time on the older episodes that I've listened to.
Well, I'm allowed to, Darren. I'm a host. I can do whatever I fucking feel like.
When I grow up, I want to be Beka.
Sir,
so that is all
are
I'm trying
a guest.
Do.
You have rules.
I want to look
follow.
like Beka.
You're in our house. I don't know which way Steve is, but on my screen, he's this way. He's maybe this way to some of you and over here to some of you. This is our house. We make the rules. You follow the rules, Darren. What are we going to do? Fucking, we're going to rate our books again? Like, what are we going to do here?
Right.
Sorry, Darren. You don't get to make up your own fucking rules. Once you start your own podcast, you can do whatever you feel like.
There you go.
I'm going to start the samples only daily, and you can only drink from sample bottles.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I think that had to be addressed, so I'm glad Beka's cleaned house a little bit there. Cause that was ridiculous.
What the fuck is he talking? Like,
right. Why do that? What's the point? First of all, just drink your samples on your goddamn event and be done with it. And let's all move on. Yeah,
you know what? That would probably have been fucking smart, but
it probably would be.
It takes me a while to do things the efficient way. So
I know what's even worse for Darren at this point, Steve, is now if I would come waltzing into the barrel shop, like, well, this is my house. These are my rules. Guess what, motherfucker? I work there now too. You can't tell me what to do anywhere that we're at. My rules everywhere. And Steve's, I suppose, but whatever. Steve could just
mostly yours.
But still, he's not going to.
No. All right, Steinkamp, what do you got?
I have the 10th Mountain Whiskey and Spirit picked from the ABV Barrel Shop.
Okay, that's going to be tough to beat. That's our new lead. Incredible high pitch. If you get a cannon shot, Nate, you could top that thing. But what do you got there, man?
Well, we know from my history on this show that I don't have much when it comes to cork pops. I don't know if I'm holding it wrong. I don't know. So we'll see. This is a Weller foolproof 5280 pick from a couple years ago. I can't even get the damn thing to come out. Hold on a second. That's another piece of shit.
That was a tsunami of whiskey.
Oh, shit, man.
My God.
I am the worst at this shit. Just quit.
Oh, God. All right. Nobleton's a cherry bomb. All right. Let's see what we got here. That was nice, but not good enough. Steinkamp had a nice, clean cork pop. So
First time ever. First win.
First win. There you go. Cheers.
Cheers.
Steve, I did have one win, and it was because everybody else had screw tops one time. It's the one win that I have. Yeah,
the one win, yeah.
Barely won with that. So
there you go. Fair enough.
Every dog has his day.
Yep. So, all right, what we'll do next, we'll take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to be talking about Royce Neeley, what he's done right, how he's been able to get to the lofty place he sits now. We'll do that in just a few. Okay, let's talk about the people that make these shows happen. First up is the Stave and Thief Society. Via their in-person class at Moonshine University in Louisville, Kentucky, the Stave and Thief Society is the place where you, a bourbon enthusiast, can expand your knowledge and emerge an executive bourbon steward. In 2017, I completed my executive bourbon steward certification. It's the most comprehensive bourbon certification available and connects you with an expansive network of bourbon enthusiasts and professionals. Check out the full listing of in-person and online certifications and join the society today by enrolling at staveandthief.com. Speaking of executive bourbon steward certification, the ABV Barrel Shop in St. Louis, Missouri has developed a unique partnership with the Stave and Thief Society to offer a preparatory class to assist you in getting your executive bourbon steward certification. This prep class costs only $25 and is available to take live or online via Zoom. Graduates of our class receive a coupon code good for 15% off your executive bourbon steward certification held in Louisville, Kentucky. This saves you almost $90. Additionally, you can collaborate with fellow attendees to split travel costs when you go to Louisville. If you're interested in signing up for the class, simply head over to abvbarrelshop.com and check out the classes and events page. Last but not least, we are sponsored by Neeley Family Distillery. Royce Neeley is the 11th generation distiller in one of America's oldest distilling families. A visit to Neeley Family Distillery takes you through family history, where you can see all the artifacts and newspaper clippings through the years from this family that started distilling in America after James Neeley arrived from Northern Ireland in 1740. Today, Royce Neeley and his team are crafting some of the best spirits in America. Their bourbon and absinthe offerings keep winning top honors in the spirits competitions. Recently, their absinthe made history as the first platinum winner in the absinthe category at the San Francisco Spirits Competition. Neeley Family Distillery is definitely a bucket list destination if you are a bourbon fan. Learn more about their spirit offerings, visiting their facility, and the awards they have collected over at NeeleyFamilyDistillery.com. And now, back to the show. Break. What, small talk, Darren? You got something?
Yeah.
That sounds like it's going to be horrible.
Yeah. I still haven't thought of anything.
And you're listening to the Bourbon Daily.
Welcome back to the Bourbon Daily. Today we're talking about Royce Neeley.
Yes, we
and the
are.
lofty place he sits.
Yeah, the
lofty place he sits is in his office with his feet on the desk.
Feet on the desk. Yeah, because he can. He's earned that, the ability to put the feet on the desk. So, yeah, I mean, I first met Royce, I think it was like 2017. It's been a long time ago. And, I went to his place. It's very different than now. They've expanded that place multiple times. They've added more equipment in, and they've upgraded the equipment that was there. And they've just, at that time he used to get, grain in bags, and he would ferment in plastic totes, and, now he's got cypress, and he's got, he's got these big silo things outside the back with the grains in it, and he's got a real rick house versus before it was kind of like a barn with some ricks in it. It's been incredible to see what he's been able to do, and he's done it the right way. I mean, here's a guy who's been able to do all of this and not go, just in debt to his eyeballs. Where, is he going to be able to make a payment this week and stuff like that? He's just done things the right way, kind of build as he goes, and just keep reinvesting in that. And of course, when I knew Royce, he wasn't taking a dime out of his business. So he did, and he lived at this distillery when I first met him.
Yes,
he lived live there. So, that's how dedicated to it he was. And, at a time when he was a very young man, he was at that distillery all the time, 24 hours a day, basically. I mean, there's times when he had to, work and do tours and stuff like that. And then, run the stills. It had to be there until it got done running for the evening, turn it off, go to bed, wake up, get things going again, rinse, lather, repeat for a while. But he's done his time, and now he's where he's at. And what do you guys think about the Royce Neeley story?
I think it is spectacular, and it's wild to think about because, I wasn't old enough to drink when you had first met Royce, and so I didn't know anything about the industry. And just to hear, because we've had conversations about this at the shop, and what he was doing, and how much I honestly did not believe that he lived at the distillery for months when you first told me that. I was like, oh, no way.
Oh, he did.
You live at the distillery, right? But he was actually sleeping in the office.
Distillery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a shower
that is
in the
just
back
wild
office.
to me. That's the great thing about America, right? That's the American dream, to build a company up to what you want it to be. But you got to put all that blood, sweat, and tears into it too. And I'm sure there was all of those things shed at the beginning there.
Right. I think he had to work scared. He had to be there all the time. And he couldn't have the fun his friends were having because, ultimately, he's got everything on the line. But what does that mean when you're a 24-year-old kid? What does that mean? Everything's on the line. The place goes belly up and bankrupt. Nothing really happens to you. You don't have anything to begin with. There's nothing to take. His parents also, were his co-owners. Everything's on the line for them. You're talking about money, houses, cars. They have a lot of assets. So, and I think that drove Royce to be like, this thing has to be a success. I got to make this. I can't screw my parents over, So, and it's easy to think and look at him now and be like, this guy's got it easy. He's got a good staff there. He's got Miss Beka Sue. This guy's, he's living the high life. Of course, who doesn't want to be Royce Neeley? Well, shit, you wouldn't want to do what he had to do to get there. That's for sure. Making no money, living at a distillery.
Royce works his dick off.
Right.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. And it has granted, when I first got here, before me, obviously, and when I first got here, he had to be at the distillery all of the time. And he still does, but now it's a lot of office stuff, being on the phone, doing a lot of computer
traveling
stuff.
out in the market.
But
I was gonna say, how many states has he been to in the last month?
All that computer stuff is fucking exhausting. All the talking to people in the market is fucking exhausting. All of it is exhausting. I mean,
he'd probably actually still be distilling,
Yes, absolutely.
Because that
would
part
rather
sucks.
be down there working than being on the phone doing all that kind of stuff. But he's constantly working. I mean, every single day of the week. We have had to make a decision to try to not be at the distillery over the weekend so that he can actually get time off.
Right.
Because if he doesn't do that and he doesn't make that decision that I'm not going to go down there on a Sunday, then he will just be down there and
he'll be working. Yeah.
Because he's not on the phone necessarily as much on the weekends. So I can be at the distillery. No, we've been very lucky with a lot of the employees that we've hired, and we can trust a lot of them. Thank God. And that makes life easier for not being there, but he still is just working all the time. And I think that starting small like he did and just slowly kind of building things on has been the best way to do it. He says all the time, if I would have known what I know now, I would have made our gift shop twice the size. Well, that wouldn't have it would have been ridiculous because it didn't need to be twice the size when we first started. And so we've got to just add on. We added on that tour room, which was the perfect timing for that tour room. That's been amazing for us. And he's just been adding stuff on slowly as they go.
Yeah.
And it's really the best way to do it.
He has that distiller, the it thing, the thing that I can't define. I can't write down, this is what Royce Neeley has, but he has that innate ability to distill. He understands distillation to a level I never will, and I don't think anybody on this phone call here will ever have it either. We can talk about it all day long, learn science and all that, and study. And Royce just has that special thing where he understands distillation and doing the small things that make a difference. The things that make really great whiskey. And as we record this, he just announced that he bought a 3-chamber, and I'm excited about this. What's going to be coming out of his distillery and on that still, I have no doubt is going to be amazing, because I've followed Royce along each step of the way here, and he surprises me with how great stuff is. Even getting out of his comfort zone and doing things like absinthe. This wasn't on the radar when I first talked to him, but he decides he wants to do that. And by the way, he makes the best absinthe in the world. I mean, it's crazy what that guy's been able to do. But he's got that it thing. He's got something that the others of us don't have, and that's why how you create a Royce Neeley is you have to be a Royce Neeley. You got to have that thing. That's special thing.
The it thing you're talking about, Steve, is
right.
He's incredibly smart. He's way smarter than any of us are. Is what
right.
The it
Not
thing
even close.
is where we're fucking idiots.
yeah, and you see how like he's not a natural speaker where he's just like comfortable, and that's something that he wants to do. But when forced into that, because that's part of his gig. When you have to be a Royce Neeley, people want to talk to you to talk to the group. He is the best goddamn speaker. When he gets in front of a room, he owns that room. That room is totally engaged. He is dropping that knowledge in a simple way that's easy to understand. Again, the fact that he knows things that we don't know. There's a lot of people that know things we don't know, but most of them can't explain that. He can explain things that make it simple and easy to comprehend. And it's there's a lot that goes into becoming a Royce Neeley, but those are certainly some of the things that stand out for me.
So, just personal story about first time I met Royce. So first time I met Royce, I was going on my second ever barrel pick at the distillery, and we had dinner with the Robinsons the night before, and I was talking to Neil. First time I'd met them, and it's like, yeah, I get to meet Royce tomorrow. I'm so excited. And he goes, I'm telling you right now, do not act like you're not going to be smarter. He is a smart man. And I understood that, but literally. And this was the day that you guys found out about Old Jet. And so we only saw Royce for 15 minutes, and he blew my freaking socks off with just like the 15-minute interaction. I was like, okay, I am going to sit down and shut up. Like it was a crazy, I don't even know. Like, we were standing in the distillery talking about how the cases were loaded on the pallet or something. It was something not even related to making whiskey. And he came in and said something, and I was like, well, that makes perfect fucking sense. And so not that I was going to act like I knew everything anyway. I was a child at that point, basically.
Now that you're an adult. Yes.
Yeah. Now that you've grown up, Darren.
Right.
I had been to 2 distilleries.
Now that you can rent cars.
Yeah.
But it was crazy first off, to see how he has everything set up and how convenient it is, and all of that was crazy. But just talking to him that one time, I was like, oh shit, this man is Einstein.
Right.
So the question that started the podcast is, why did Royce Neeley's model work so well? And for those of you just tuning in, we get this a couple days ahead of time. So I was thinking about it, right? And for anybody's business or an entrepreneur to do well, you got to have commitment. And Royce had commitment. He moved into the business, right? It was, and I don't get the sense that Royce had a plan B, right? If this doesn't work out, well, then I'll go sell used cars.
Right.
I can't imagine that he ever thought,
right,
what am I going to do if this doesn't work out? And then you go beyond that, and you go, all right, what's the next thing for if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you have to be willing to do things that others won't. If it were easy, everybody would do it, right? So yeah, he lived in the distillery, and he still, he wants to be there every day and feels like he needs to and put that time in. And then, I'm still fairly new at this too. I don't have near the experience that like Steve or Nate or Beka does. The thing I find with really good distillers is they're 50% mad scientist, 50% historian. And that absolutely fits Royce, right?
Right.
What he can do and make and but he also knows all the history behind it and appreciate where the whiskey comes from and why it is what it is and how to get there, and then knows the knowledge science part to make it all work.
Yeah.
So yeah,
you're right about that. There is something. I mean, whether it doesn't matter if I'm talking to Royce or Seth Detling or any number of great Demetrius, Adam Stumpf. If I can go in and talk to those guys, not about their brand, I just want to talk bourbon history, and they know that shit. It's important to them. They know the people who don't know that stuff. By the way, their whiskey always sucks. There's something there that you care about the industry. You know the history. You know to study the things that are going to make a difference. And I think that's one of the ways that you can begin to vet out, a good distiller. Just start talking a little bourbon stuff. And if they don't know anything about it, they don't care. They're like, I just make my whiskey. I make my brand. They're ultimately taste their whiskey then, and you're going to find it's not very good. It's a tell. It's like in a poker game. That's a tell. If they don't know history, they're not going to make good whiskey.
Even some of the source brands that don't make whiskey, like Taylor Morley and Amin and Macaulay, know a lot about the history of whiskey and know what whiskey has been for history, and like you can get that from them from just a source brand, right? It's not even guys that are making the whiskey. There's other people in this industry, but once they know something about bourbon and you're impressed with their knowledge, you know they can make good whiskey or produce good whiskey.
Because what the tell is that they care about bourbon, they care about whiskey. It's not just a way to make money. And that's what gets in the way of a lot of people. Whether they're doing what I'm doing, they're doing what Royce is doing, they're doing what Amin's doing, or Steinkamp here, or Nate. If the only reason to be in this game is you're like, I'm going to make a bunch of money, you're in the wrong business.
That's horrible choice.
Yeah. Get in there.
Go to vodka.
We were down at Starlight Distillery just this past weekend. Not necessarily for whiskey things, but because I wanted to go to the fucking pumpkin patch.
Nice.
But Huber's they have obviously a distillery and they have pumpkins. And we had the pleasure of hanging out with Christian and Ted and Blake, and it was interesting talking to Ted. I mean, Ted especially. Ted's really funny. If you've never gotten to talk to Ted before, he's hilarious. But he was, he's talking about. He's like, oh, I'm cruising over all these websites, looking at all the stills for sale because all this cool equipment because all these other places are going under. And I said, yep.
Yeah.
I said everyone thought they could start a distillery back in 2020, and look where the equipment is now. Because not everyone they don't have the perseverance to do it, frankly. And they don't realize that it's like, it is either like, it's sink or die here, or sink or sink or don't sink, I guess, whatever. But like, you have to do it or else you're done. Like, it's not like you can't just hold on for a while because everything is going to be over if you don't put everything into it. And also you have to know what the fuck you're doing. And half these people didn't know what the fuck they're doing and weren't trying to know what the fuck they were doing. They thought it's easy, and it's not fucking easy. There's nothing about this business that is just easy. You get to be fun and go and do tastings and just drink whiskey all the time.
You get to drink whiskey all the time.
Just be, oh, cool, I'm going to own a brand. I'm just going to be drunk all the time. Like, no, you're going to be stressed the fuck out.
And that's also not a good look if you walk in the master distiller's drunk every time you met him.
No, it's not a good look.
I mean, every once in a while it happens.
Every once in a while.
It does. Yeah,
what are you going to do?
Discovered that. That's
what
great.
What are you going to do?
But name a bad distiller that really knows their history and appreciates bourbon.
They have to know what's going on.
And it's like I said, it's an appreciation.
So it's been a fun journey to get to this point. Royce Neeley, again, I think he is the leader, one of the leaders of the industry. He was on that panel of icons, and that's no accident either. Again, and he deserves to be there. Why was he on that panel? Because he deserves it. He is an icon of whiskey, despite his still relatively young age. I mean, you think where his age compared to look at everybody else on that panel. The next closest one being Freddie Noe, and Freddie Noe's quite a bit older than him. He's got something special going on, and it's only going to get better. Like I said, he continues to innovate, reinvent himself. This 3-chamber thing is going to be a fun ride for all of us. You know why? Because we're going to benefit from it.
It's going to be cool.
We're going to get to taste this stuff.
Steve, just the passion, everybody's voice talking about Royce and just what he's done. I just want to say a few things. Obviously, I met him in 2018, just right around the time just after you had met him, I think, in New Orleans. And I met him briefly there. And honestly, he wasn't even presenting. He was sitting in the audience as a student, and he was listening to the same presentations.
Taking notes.
Exactly. But not just that. He was engaging. He was asking questions, and that's where it caught my attention with Royce, because the questions that he was asking were very intelligent questions and very. There were questions that would make you. I mean, I was sitting there and I was like, "Holy shit! Like, who is this that's engaging with these people up here?" And from that point. I wanted to get to know more about him and who he was and what was going on with what he was doing. Now, over the years, obviously at some point when we made the decision that we wanted to start a brand and look at that, he was the first person on my list. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Number one, obviously his knowledge is extensive just for even his age and what he knows. I think you could compare him to many of the master distiller, head distillers in Kentucky. And I think he has unbelievable knowledge. The second thing is he's got significant discipline. When you talk about discipline is always a major factor in, I think, success of something. And Royce doesn't just have like a passion. He doesn't just have like goals set. He has discipline. And he's a very disciplined person. And when he wants to focus on something and be disciplined, he is disciplined. And that is why he has success. He's disciplined enough to stay at the distillery and 24/7 and put in the work and the discipline that takes. He's disciplined enough to sit down and do all that paperwork that you have to do, which is significant for anybody that's in the distillery industry. He's disciplined enough to learn and constantly learn, and he surrounds himself with mentors. Dick Stoll, these people that he like looked up to or wanted to learn, not just the history, but he wanted to meet these people, have conversations and learn. And he's an innovator. Like you talked about with the absinthe, he doesn't just say, okay, I'm going to dabble in absinthe. He gets a still, an absinthe still, and he puts it together and he starts fiddling with it. So, I don't want to give him a big head because then I got to deal with him. But
Right.
But the dude is legit, and I'm not just. I'm proud to be his friend, honestly, just to have that friendship. And I try and surround myself with people like that to make myself better. And he's one of those people. So I just appreciate everything that he does for the industry. The partnership we've had. He's a name that you're going to hear for a long time in Kentucky and in whiskey as a whole. He was involved in that the Legends series at the Kentucky Bourbon Festival for a reason. He's not up on that stage just because he's there for a reason.
Because of his good looks, right?
No, I thought that was me. You're running on my coattails, Steve. I'm going to tell him that.
We have the best looking brand ambassador in the industry. So
thanks.
Take that away.
Yes.
I also want to remind people that during 2020, which was one of the most like chaotic, crazy years of a lot of people's lives, Royce was getting his master's degree.
Right.
Like.
Yeah. He doesn't stop learning. That's the thing. He's always learning. This 3-chambered still thing. I know we talked about it, and he's got drive. He wants to learn it. He wants to master it. I have no doubt he will.
Over several shell games, Nate and I discussed that in Denver.
Yeah.
About the 3 chambers. Should I do it or not? I just want to thank you guys, one, for just doing this show in general. When I read it, I was very humbled, very excited that there's even a show about this. And I'm proud to be your guys' friends, and just proud.
Even Darren,
just be here to talk to you guys. But I will tell you guys, y'all want to know something? Akeley knows this about me. So, and I mean this. It's going to sound crazy because that's okay, because I am kind of crazy and my family's crazy, and you guys know this, but it's a crazy thing, but I mean this. And to drive to the point of some of the shit that I've went through, and like I said, Akeley knows this. Anybody started their own business knows what it takes to get through. And I mean, the alcohol industry is even tougher. It might be the most tough industry you can be in, and one that's been dominated by giants for hundreds of years. So to root your way into that is very difficult. And when I set out to do this when I was 24 years old, and I realized that in order for me to get to where I'm at today, I needed to own my own business. I needed to try to get debt-free as quickly as I could. And in order to do that, I needed to play with my parents' retirement. And there was this quote that just kept coming back to me. We used to talk about it when I was playing ball back in school, and it was Cortez, burn the ships, right? There is no going back. Burn the ships, right? When Cortez went to conquer conquer Mexico the second time, they got beat the first time left, come back in. He burned the ships to where they couldn't leave. There is no going back. And I mean this, and I cannot tell you guys this any more seriously, and this is going to sound crazy, but it was life or death for me with this business. And what I mean from that is, and Beka's heard me say this before, is I said, all right, I'm either going to do this or I'm going to fucking kill myself. That's where I'm at with it. And I mean it. And that is still the mindset I have today. When I make decisions, I take it that seriously. It is life or death to me. And that's how much I love this business. So that's the one thing I want to say to you guys pertaining to this show. And I once again appreciate you all talking about it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I think we can't end this thing on a better note than that. So we're going to wrap this one up as we always do by talking about where people can find us. Steinkamp, we're going to start with you. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Investment Whiskey.
Darren.
You can find me on Instagram with the Bourbon Adventures.
Nate.
You can find me on Instagram at 5280 Whiskey. You can find us on Instagram at Hidden Barn Whiskey, all one word. I do have a Facebook account. If you find me on there, I apologize.
Miss Beka Sue.
You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Miss Beka Sue and at Neeley Family Distillery on all socials.
All right, for me, I'm an easy guy to find at Steve Akeley, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I've got a website, steveakeley.com. We've also got a company website. That thing's abvnetwork.com. Check it out. Everything that we do is out there. Previous shows, blogs, so much more, abvnetwork.com. Come by and see me. The ABV Barrel Shop, the place where you can try before you buy. We are online, abvbarrelshop.com. Miss Beka Sue, anything else to say before we get out of here?
I'd just like to remind the audience to please give us a 5-star review that includes comments. It helps new people find the show, which is very important to us. If you like what we're doing, we ask you please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/the ABV Network.
Great job today, gang. For audience, we'll have a brand new show for you tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Until then, take care, everybody. See ya.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Peace. Before we let you go, let's talk about one last thing. The ABV Barrel Shop in the St. Louis community of Arnold, Missouri. The ABV Barrel Shop is focused on a couple of things. First of all, single barrels. We are the place where single barrels live. We go to distilleries, taste through the whiskey, select the best barrel, and have it shipped to our store where we present it to you, our customers, by allowing you to try before you buy. We're also known for the classes that we have in our education center in the store, as well as the events we have with industry professionals from the bourbon business. If you are in the St. Louis area, please come by and visit us at 6 Fox Valley Center in Arnold, Missouri. Or at a minimum, at least sign up for our email and text distribution so you know exactly what's going on in our shop over at abvbarrelshop.com. This is Steve Akeley, owner of the ABV Network, signing off. We thank you for listening to our programming and truly appreciate your support.
The Bourbon Daily is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.